realistic option of Sorcerer's Apprentice plus those spells being played first to then go Giant Conjuring the turn after together to get a more consistent outcome from that Giant. Whether that is a serious consideration or whether the likelihood of the Giant living was just too fair to bet on there is because I feel like the mage plays are always in question with so many different approaches to how you play that deck.
Yeah, you're talking about the turn where he played the second Giant, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I also like that. I think that would have been a Sorcerer's Apprentice turn for me as well.
Right.
Again, like you're kind of betting the game one way or the other. Like Bunny's line bet on there not being a Blade Dance and his Giant potentially sticking, which is one thing. The other line bets on something good happening from either the Magic Trick or the Wand Maker, because what you had on its own really isn't good enough. Like, yes, you get the Giant Conjurer's Calling turn one turn later, but if you don't do anything impressive with your Sorcerer's Apprentice turn, you're just another turn further behind at that point as well. But I do agree with you. I think I personally would have had an Apprentice turn there myself.
Really tough, though. That's kind of the positive and negative, I guess, of this mage deck, right? Is there's so many options. Yeah. It's really hard to just say, oh, this is right, this is wrong. It's almost impossible, outside of the obvious, of course. But we see another Mana Giant in the opening hand for Mr. Bunnyhoppor there. Lab Partner, not bad, but the other two, not really cards I like to see in the opening hand, at least for his Viper. Oh, that's looking a little bit better.
It sure is. Just Shambhala Apprentice Magic Trick with the coin is almost enough on its own to be guaranteeing a pretty solid early game curve, let alone when you throw the Astromancer Solarian into the mix and the perfect one drop off the top. Who is this guy?
It's actually great, isn't it? Because what this does is this kind of draw for Viper gives him options of the curve plays, or at any point he can bail out and have a powerful combo turn if he feels he needs to. It's pretty sick. Like, the same hand does two different things very well.
Yes.
There is, though, the Firebrand for Bunnyhoppor, which can help him snap back into this game a little bit later on. If he goes One Maker now, gets the spell. Or he could, what would you think, ping instead? But then that kind of removes the One Maker from next turn if he needs to ping the 1/3. Yeah, I think he has to One Maker here.
Yep, that's the only reason not to play your 2/2 on curve here. Elemental allies.
And two elementals,
powerful. Yep.
So elemental allies, Cyclone next turn, and then you go, oh wait, Mana Giant, 7 mana. Oh, now there's Ray of Frosts.
Mm-hmm.
Could clean up this 1/3.
Just win the game on turn 4, though, the way this hand is coming together.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, right? Like, Solarian looks just good as well. You know, like, the options are all there for Viper. I think he could have Solarian this turn. That would be more than good enough as well. He did go for the ping, just to kill off the 2/2.
Right.
Just wants the board, I imagine, as empty as possible for this Shambhala turn.
Yeah, just trying to make sure things don't snowball. Obviously, the spell damage minion is much scarier because you're opening yourself up to just big cram session punishes from the opponent whenever you can't kill any spell damage minion that they land. You can actually break it down. Like, you learn the importance of killing spell damage minions against mage very quickly, because the few games that you don't do it, suddenly they cram session and they draw 3 cards, and then the next turn they just have a big apprentice turn because they drew 3 cards, and then the turn after that they play Raz and they still just have all the spell damage minions on the board that you left there from the beginning, and then you're dead. And it's kind of hard to trace that back to just you not killing Lab Partner on turn 1 or turn 2 or whatever, but it really is very, very important. But here, Viper is just greeding because he feels his turn 4 is so powerful that as long as he just isn't ridiculously far behind at that point, he can just end the game. And oh my goodness, it's just getting better. The mother of all turn 4s, Raven.
Right.
Just play the Astromancer. We're here now.
Yeah.
This is where we are. I
do think that it's difficult to make this play, even though it looks so powerful, because it's like, are you just feeding an Astromancer to the Firebrand?
Yep.
Which is fine, obviously, you get it shuffled in the deck, but you're making plays that get stomped by your opponent 100% of the time, right? Which feels weird to do, but you are banking on this turn 4 being so powerful, and it just is going to be, right? Even if this evocation whiffs, it's still good enough.
I think you can possibly work this out from Bunny's side as well. Like, almost exactly what's in the hand here. This opening is so weird from Viper that you either put them on a very, very bad hand, in which case, cool, don't have to worry about that. They have a very, very bad hand. Or they have one very specific thing that they're about to do to you, which is very bad indeed.
Right. It is weird, though, right? Because you could also say that it could not be Apprentice because... Or at least the expected turn, because it would have happened then with Cyclone, right? So at least you know, I would assume it's not going to be an Apprentice Cyclone.
Yes, that's why I said like one very specific thing. Like I think you can narrow it down to, oh dear, I'm getting Shenvala next.
Yeah. And for example, I guess potentially Giandis would be something to think about as well.
Yes.
With the coin, but again, bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I think you think you're getting Shambhala this turn, and if you don't, then you file that away into, okay, his hand just sucks. Great, we can move on.
Right? Yeah. His hand is double giant with no ways to reduce it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder where I've seen this hand before, but here we go.
Alright, settle in. It's all playable. One spell, he's looking for 2 spell, 3 spell from the magic trick. That will do.
Yeah. So it's at minimum 2 5/5s now.
Yes, guaranteed 2, and then he can potentially get a 3rd activation. I mean, he could potentially get a 3rd and 4th activation off the evocation if he really gets there. Well, that's a lot of things being pointed already. Oh!
Insane. He does need to play that devolving first, though, right? Before he kills everything?
Yeah, he can kill the Firebrand, then devolve, then kill the Desk Imp or Wisp or whatever gets left over.
Just a small one, so he doesn't have to use up a Ray of Frost without needing to.
And this is first proc now, right? So there's no reason to keep going.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool.
And the thing is, it looks like an all-in turn, but it's just arcane intellect. Freeze it all, Sol! Freeze it all.
What a hand.
Imagine if he had an apprentice. If that arcane explosion was apprentice.
Would he be?
Giant.
Would that be good? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, is any of this good? It's just funny more than good, I think.
Yeah. How do you actually get yourself out of this, though, is the question.
So 2 Ray of Frosts go to the 3/2, right? Like, or do you assume the apprentice work has been done? It's just a 3/2 now. Is that an assumption you can ever make?
I think it's on the table. Yeah, I think it has to be considered.
You are facing down 3 5/5s,
exactly,
which are quite threatening in themselves.
Yeah, like. Literally, like, killing this apprentice is 20 damage that you take over the course of the game, right? Because each Ray of Frost can prevent 5 damage for 1 turn. So if you use up 2, that's 10 damage that you're taking probably twice, so it's potentially worth, like, upwards of 20 damage over the course of the game. Is that good for you? I don't know. It's a Sorcerer's Apprentice. They end games if you leave them alive.
Oh, speaking of Jandis.
I mean, that seems powerful.
Is there any reason not to? There's just not, right?
No.
What makes something real?
You jam it.
Mind games.
The Turtle Mage nostalgia package.
I know. Jandis is like, I remember.
Yep.
This has to be the best cram session.
Pour one out for the fallen turtles. I mean, Arcane Explosion is at least decent here. Something.
Yeah. It would be something against just a Jandis turn.
Yeah.
3 5/5s are still looking pretty threatening as far as I can see. No reason not to, though.
He has 3 total Rays of Frost remaining. One of these is a twin spell, and one of them is a half copy.
Would you freeze the 3/5s and just play a giant?
I think he needs to, like, find some way to get Conjurer's Calling or something, right? Because I don't think just, like, 1 mana giant is going to be good enough here. Oh, well, I think he still wanted to play it, and he didn't realize that that was a natural copy that he played. He played the natural copy instead of... Yeah. Right. I think he thought he could get the giant down there still, but he couldn't.
Yeah, because I was looking at if he freezes the 3/5/5s, then there's only 6 on board to face down the giant.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it have a chance at living, right? Because it doesn't die to the trade's
fair.
ping. So it's a stretch, but I think that's where Bunnyhoppor is right now.
Yeah.
Just land it and hope it lives, and then hope you top deck and just call in. It's a rough one. Bunnyhoppor's draw is... One maker has to be Evo something.
Evo, Frost Nova, Magic Trick into Frost Nova, or Magic Trick into Evo into Frost Nova.
Don't think this is good enough, right?
Nope.
Don't think a spell damage minion will stop him dying. Can't play the Violet Warden.
Nope.
And that's just going to be game, yeah. It's just too much. And honestly, we know Mage does powerful things. That is without a doubt. But that powerful is pretty incredible. That does not actually happen that often. And Bunnyhoppor was just forced out of that game pretty hard from Viper there. And it paid off, right? Viper's sort of weird game plan early on. It looked very strange, but it paid off. He met the least amount of resistance going into that Apprentice Shambhalata.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you might look at that and go, well, how do you ever beat that hand? But we've seen multiple games, like even within GM itself, we've seen players have that hand available and be forced into doing something else by the fact that their major opponent on the other side went lab partner on 1 into cram session on 2 into something powerful on turn 3, and, you know, actually like put the pressure on to the point where maybe you had to use some Ray of Frost to kill a Shambhala that your opponent just tempoed out onto the board first. And then you just didn't have those resources available. Like, you can disrupt that plan, but not if you have as slow as a start as Bunny's had here. And honestly, it's kind of brutal the way it's panning out, but with everything on the line here for Bunny, with relegation on the line, with his GM future on the line, Tempo Mage is just letting him down right now. It's just given him 2 extremely clunky opening hands that have not done the powerful things as quickly as you would like to be able to do with the deck. And now he has one final shot to go with either that or Rogue versus this slightly unconventional build of the Control Priest from Viper with no Cabal Acolytes included in the deck.
Yeah, and I've been known in the past to be a seer, so I kind of, you know, I do foretell certain things, and I think we're going to end up seeing a game number 5, which is going to be Priest versus Rogue between these 2 players. So that's what I see coming. So make sure you get comfortable. But for now, this is going to be the Mage from Bunnyhoppor against Viper's Priest. Viper, pretty solid opening actually here. Double 1 makers, got to feel pretty good just to knock back some of those early minion-based aggression openings that Mage can have.
Yeah, very nice indeed. This might even be as far as a full keep from Viper's side. Draconic Studies on 1, 1 maker on 2, 1 maker on 3, plus 1 of your 1 mana spells. Cobalt on 4. Still even have the coin at that point. Guess you could even coin the Spellkin on 4. On 3 with that curve as well, if you really wanted to do that.
The 1 mana spells do such a good job of actually sort of beefing out your turns as well, right? Because it makes these 2 drops kind of 3 drops, you know, kind of 4 drops depending on what happens in the order you play them. So it's pretty huge. But also, I was looking if Bunnyhoppor's hand was a keep as well, with 1 maker, Solarian, and that cram session. That was pre-mulligan, that? You didn't mulligan, right?
I think so, yeah. I think
full keep. Okay.
I think both players very aggressively kept there. On reflection, I think actually from Viper's side, I would have thrown away 1 maker number 2 because I don't necessarily think you need it based on the way that the curve breaks down. But I can totally get behind keeping it. It's one of the highest win rate cards in the mulligan in most decks that it's in most matchups.
Well, he does like Twilight Drakes.
Yep. I think that's where the idea came from, right? That people were just taking Twilight Drake so often from turn 1 Draconic Studies. People were like, shouldn't we just have this in our deck?
Yeah. I think that's the thing, right? With Cleric of Scales especially, you start to look, okay, well, I need to play dragons. Well, dragons are good. Spellkin, of course, great. They're giving me 1-mana spells, perfect. And then outside of that, you're like, what if I played a couple more dragons? What are the best ones there? And then you look at the list, and suddenly Twilight Drake does look very appealing.
It's Twilight Drake or Crimson Hothead, right? I think that's what it comes down to. Like, you want something around that period of the game, and those are the only two that really make sense in this deck.
And for me, although I like Crimson Hothead as a card, your deck should do okay versus aggro, right? So the taunt aspect of it probably doesn't outweigh that sheer health that a Twilight Drake can get.
Right.
I must consider.
No way for Viper to kill off the Solarian, so Bunnyhopper's going to be able to get this Cram session off.
Yeah. Finally, Bunny gets to play spell damage minion into Cram session at the start of a game.
Ooh, there was an option for Viper, though. He did get the Holy Smite. He could have coined it.
He did get coin Holy Smite, yeah. But shrink your Twilight Drake enormously, lose the coin so you can't coin Spellkin anymore. Like, I think it's a tough sell to get Viper to Holy Smite there for sure.
And he can just do it next turn if it's still knocking around, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can always go Twilight Drake coin. Much, much stronger. And this is, I'm really glad, even though it was a discovered one, I'm glad we get to see, potentially get to see Twilight Drake early in this matchup. So I do want to know how it performs versus Mage. I think it's the trickiest one, right? Because outside of specific scenarios, I think Mage should struggle to deal with it.
We have seen it happen once already. I guess it must have been last week, but it got immediately devolving missiled, which is probably why you forgot about it.
I guess, yeah. When it doesn't get devolving missiled, I want to see how it performs versus Mage. There we go.
Oh, right back at you.
It's not quite as strong, is it?
It's not, no.
Not for now. Not without this one maker giving a helping hand, at least.
Once this one maker gives us an evocation, then we're in business.
What to do?
Honestly, in the priest matchup, though, like, say you did play one maker here and you did get evocation, or you did get another Ray of Frost, or you did get a magic trick, you'd probably go Cyclone first, just so you didn't exhaust your entire hand of spells and then just leave a Cyclone stranded in it, because, you know, making sure you stay high on resources throughout the whole game is probably more important than a one-off tempo spike. There's a limit, though, right? Like, if you're going to tell me I can make a full board of 5/5s, then I'll just go ahead and do that and win the game. But, you know, 1 or 2 5/5s versus having a Cyclone turn, it probably ends up being a Cyclone turn.
Time runs out on me.
Speaking of value plans, the Azure Explorer always looks good to me.
Definitely feels a bit calm before the storm if you're Viper right now, right? Like, Bunnyhopper's not really doing too much. He's just accruing some resources, but at the same time, he doesn't seem to be necessarily struggling in the way that he was in the previous games. So this definitely feels more like he's gearing up to do something powerful.
It's really tough, isn't it? Like, what are the options here? There isn't a natural devolving missiles in Bunnyhopper's deck. So there's always the fear, of course. But would there be any reason to stack up on this Twilight Drake? Or do you think this is more likely to see a coin Spellkin just for an additional kind of chunky minion to throw on the board?
I do kind of like coin Spellkin, yeah. There's also just like one make a trade heal, which is the slowest possible turn that you can make here. Also the least commitment. I do think like curating that raised Deadpool is something that Viper needs to be thinking about first and foremost.
Viper likes his dragons big. Gonna go for that Apotheosis.
Sleeping Soul! It's back!
It's creating a strange problem, though, for Bunnyhoppor without any, outside of the Cyclone, without any spell discovers right now.
Yeah.
You can't really fish for a way to deal with just a 6/11, and we're seeing it subtle. We're seeing stats come back into their true habitat being played, because stats are pretty good.
It's going to be small Cyclone here, I think, from Bunnyhopper's side, trying to find an answer.
I think the second Apprentice makes this a lot easier too, right?
Yes. It's a nice amount of security.
And Oh, I saw a green and thought,
Yeah, it's kind of nothing. Deep Freeze is nice. Good long-term value, but in terms of dealing with the problems right now, really nothing doing. Holy Smite preserved for Viper to be able to deal with this Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's a huge deal for him.
do you actually like the potential for One Maker here? Even though Spelkin looks great, even with coin, I was looking at One Maker because it allows him to actually heal the Twilight Drake.
Yep.
Okay, even more so. But you know what I mean? I think you've just seen Bunnyhoppor cannot deal with this Twilight Drake, so I think a hero power is worth a lot here for Viper.
I agree. I also think because he drew Mirrors on this turn, the coin is also worth a lot to Viper, which put me off coining the Spelkin as well. But I do agree that healing up the stats on the Twilight Drake is very nice here. I think I'm just using my hero power. Smite and hero power. The renew will do some work.
Yeah,
It'll find a target.
Right. You're on effective 6 again.
Yes.
Which seems fine after seeing 2 Ray of Frosts and the Arcane Missiles. Like, I think that's reasonable. Oh, is he going to point the
really?
Viper is in. He's in on the Twilight Drake.
Plague is huge. So sick. He'd use his coin though, which means Bunny does have the ability to make very aggressive boards much earlier than that Plague of Death will be able to deal with them. But certainly just in terms of total resources, Viper is in business now. Doesn't have his Soul Mirror yet. He does now have an additional Plague of Death. There is the opportunity for that Murazond to be able to mount a counter-offensive here.
Hmm. Bunnyhoppor offered the options we normally see priests have to consider.
Yes.
Some things of like Generation of Dragons. These are too big for what Bunnyhoppor want to do, unless he wants to try and convert over to a more slow, control-y, value-based game plan, which he's naturally going to end up doing anyway by getting into the late game, but
yes.
I still think he wants to go fast, right?
It's just so miserable, though. Like, imagine playing any of those minions against the Wave of Apathy steal your cards deck.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
that was just hideous. You just want something efficient and mid-rangey, ideally. Like, something for 4 to 6 mana that you can just drop down and maintain pressure. No such option for Bunny. Oh yeah? It's the one you're willing to burn to counterspell? Interesting.
And what would you want him to burn there? Wave?
Well, you could start with Spelkin, right? And then see if you got some garbage off the Spelkin card.
Hmm.
It's difficult,
but
right?
now
Because knowing, obviously, it did end up being Spellbender. We're talking about testing for Counterspell, but you also have to think about testing for Mirror Entity, in which case, like, does playing the Kobold Spelkin get blown up by Mirror Entity somewhat? I mean, you do just have the 6/11 to trade into it, so maybe that's still fine. It's always complicated.
Can't heal it, though.
It does mean you can't heal it, yeah.
Is there anything I've learned about Viper in this game of Hearthstone? He wants to keep this Twilight Drake alive.
I mean, particularly now that he has that Inner Fire from the from Wandmaker #1 that was revived.
This is the issue, right? If Bunnyhoppor just plays Evasive Draconid, it's just already dead.
Yeah.
It does a decent job, at least until the Wave of Apathy comes down, but it is already just dead.
It's also weirdly on curve for Viper's version of the deck. Like, 7. Yeah, 7 is the turn that he can do the combo because he's chosen not to be able to do it on 5 for some reason. Like, that still kind of baffles me, but here we are.
Have you seen the 6/11?
Yes, but other players do manage to play 2 Cabal Acolytes and fit a Twilight Drake in their deck, and he discovered this Twilight Drake. It's
they don't
not the one
play
that he plays.
2 Twilight Drakes in the deck.
They do play Draconic Studies, which is where this Twilight Drake came from.
Yes, exactly. Viper plays 4 Twilight Drakes in his list.
Now you're
Most
right.
people only play 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, the Kaj. I don't know why, but I think Kaj on Raz is very satisfying play. It's one of the best targets.
Agreed.
Just because we might get to see the Raz Apotheosis play.
Yeah, there's certain cards that are just objectively more fun when you put Apotheosis on them.
Yes!
Wretched Tutor, Raz, Dragonbane, that's a good one.
Yes! I'm I'm the face hunter now. It's like so great.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Is it cold in here? Or is it just me?
Viper, I believe, still does not have any read on any of the face attack, does he?
He does. He does. I think he's ruled out Fate
did he?
and Ice Barrier. I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
he attacked with a one maker, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, wait.
think-
No, how could he? He's on 30 health. Did I miss a heal?
Oh, yeah, good point. Maybe I'm just wrong.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think he's because he's traded every single turn, right? Because
That's
he's never.
true.
I don't think he's ever had the freedom to attack with something before his Twilight
Yeah,
Drake, and he
yeah.
obviously doesn't want to die.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, the threat of Vaporize is too strong to test it with the Twilight Drake, right?
Deep freeze. We come down here from Bunnyhoppor, but
Moo Rosond?
yeah. I'm now trying to work out if Soul Mirror is ever better.
No, it's significantly worse. You get 2 frozen 3/3s instead of an 8/8 and 2 3/6s.
Might freeze his own thing though.
No, it targets an enemy always. We go
Is it
through this
always an
every
enemy?
time. Deep freezes target an enemy. How have you not
Every
learned this
time.
yet? We actually do. I swear.
Because I don't play
swear.
pre-soul. That's why.
But like
I'm not a madman.
Highlander Mage, where it came off Tortollan for like an entire meta game where it always targeted enemies being relevant as well.
Yeah,
Anytime that it's come off Solarian, anytime that it's come off Puzzle Box, like how have
Yeah,
you not
yeah,
learned
yeah,
this yet?
I try and block out priest things. Okay.
Quickly.
Can't deal with the nightmares.
Actually annoyed.
I could tell.
Yeah.
You think this is your time? It is mine.
Wait, should he have attacked first, or is he trading it again? I wonder if that was ever the turn to test the secret.
Dedication.
Oh, just to send something face, just so you could rule out the barrier and the vaporize.
Well, I think most importantly, not even that, but actually the Flame Ward, right?
Sure. Oh, I
like-
see what you're saying. Yeah.
now,
yeah.
Flame Ward's a bit good, is what
That's
I'm going
fair.
to say.
The triple trade was really good though, right? Or like the double trade plus the Raz proc was actually like
yeah,
really
yeah.
effective there.
Yeah.
But you are
I
right
just wondered
in that
if he could
Flame
have
Ward.
just sacked the Shambhala.
Right. You are right now in that like Flame Ward is a lot better than it necessarily needs to be.
Right.
Yikes.
Oh, those are bad every which way you look at them. Oh, and there's the steel on the Deathwing. Viper doesn't have enough board space for all these powerful dragons.
1/3 of his Conjurer's Calling is just dead on board to the Raz. Like, Viper could just AFK and deal with this board state pretty much.
I wonder.
I'm just trying to work out what he can
that's
trade
so
away to make room for this Deathwing.
Yeah. Does have a bit of an issue, doesn't he? What if
What if
it's
he just
not
trades a
steal?
3/6 into the Celine?
I must consider.
Yeah, I actually like this. So he's in a firing because he actually wants the Spellbender out of the way, so he can just use Shadow Death instead. Like, I
Right.
actually don't think this is a steal turn for the reasons we just discussed. Like, it's just too awkward, right?
I mean, his board's too good.
Yeah.
If anything, right? Like, his board is actually beyond stealing a 12/12, which is
Yes.
a ridiculous thing to say, but it's
Yes.
true.
But it is true.
It's just true. Like, knowing that there's double Conjurers, does he just wave this board and go face? Okay, he's gonna trade.
That was a lot of trading. Okay.
Yeah, he has wave. I know he has wave Cabal, but what if he just waved and just dunked him in the face?
Yeah.
Insane. Wait,
That-
did he just do that?
Is it cold in here? Or is it just me?
Did I miss something silly there?
What? What?
Did Viper just embalming ritual a Twilight Drake and not a Raz?
He did,
Or a
yes.
Morazan?
That is what happened.
Okay. Just loves Twilight Drakes, doesn't he?
Arcane Breath still has the evasive in hand, which is a big deal. Honestly, it's the best purpose for this evasive Draconid at this point.
He also has Nova Conjurers here,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty sick.
Cram Session. Very nice. Got to be card draw over anything else, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
This.
yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a payoff of for having to play the things now.
Mhm.
Oh wow, okay.
I kind of agree with this, yeah. Just maximizing the card draw over going with the...
So now he goes double 1 to create another 5/5.
Yes.
Okay.
And even if he'd have missed here, he
Oh.
could have gone One Thief for even more. His One Thief had discovered another 1-mana spell, like another magic trait, another
Sure,
evocation
sure.
or something, he could have kept going. Apotheosis! It's happening, Raven! It's probably not happening.
Steal spell
Fair.
damage. That's what Viper's looking for. Oh, it's happening, Sod.
Well, this is unfortunate, isn't it?
You can just wave, right?
He can just wave, but he's
Because-
just seen that the evocation is in hand, which means if he doesn't do something this turn, there's a high likelihood he can just get Frost Nova'd again by the exact same turn he just watched.
So he just plagues. Says, "Let's go."
Well, I didn't say that either. Because that seems miserable. All
it's
I'm
the
really
other way
doing here is bemoaning that there isn't really a third option. It's either leave the apprentice alive or press plague.
The third option is actually evocation. Go for a way to kill the sorcerers.
That's true. Yeah,
Like that is an option. He had what 9 mana or 8 mana, I guess. Sorry,
Yeah,
after
yeah,
the
yeah,
mind
yeah.
vision,
That's very fair.
and enough space in hand to be relevant. It's not like he was going for a 2-card Evo for a 1 out.
What are your
I guess
studies?
the idea here is
Says
My partner, okay.
no matter what Bunnyhoppor does, Viper can just plague it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty sick. Even through this counter spell.
Yeah, it's not pretty through the counterspell, but it does get there.
I mean, if he's not going to cast evocation with 8 mana floating, then when is he? To proc a counter spell.
Yeah. His remaining counterspell, Polymorph, Vape, and Pyro. Ugh.
Wait, does he not want to play the Firebrand this turn? Okay. Really tricky turn here. That's why I'm generally being quiet, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
options, and every single card that gets played changes every outcome. Ooh, wow. There's a box all.
There's a box and not a lot else off that, though. The Devolving Missiles, sure, but double Ancient Mysteries, absolute bricks in the truest sense of the word. Now I would expect that instead of Evocation to break into Plague of Death, Viper would really like to do Apotheosis to break into Soul Mirror.
Yeah, can trade into. What's he need to trade into? The giant is actually a bit of a pain here, isn't he? Does he have to kill the giant? Or at least trade into the giant?
If he wants to kill the giant, he has to trade. No, he can just kill one more.
Oh, he
yeah,
does it
he can
now,
just
he does
value
now,
trade
yeah,
the
yeah,
1-3,
he does
and now
now,
there's
yeah,
only
yeah.
5 minions, and he just set things up.
Regardless, the giant was in a good place there for Bunnyhoppor to
Yes,
protect
yeah,
him
yeah,
from
yeah, for
this,
sure.
which was good.
Yep.
It meant that Viper had to do something to be able to get to this giant, otherwise it lives, and then that gets here. We enter Scaryville for Viper.
We do. And in the strange, bizarro world of this matchup, we have now reached the point where Viper is trying to pressure Bunny out of the game, who weirdly has more value in his hand. Theoretically, when you account for the fact that 2 of the cards are ancient mysteries, that's not actually true. But, you know, cards upside down.
I don't know. 2 of the cards are ancient mysteries. One of the cards is box, which to me can be a lot of value. So it depends. Again, it's all about perspective, isn't it?
It's
Polymorph
true.
could pick up to deal with this Inquisitor, though. Freeze instead?
You fight me.
I mean, I don't think you polymorph a Disguised Wanderer, right? Like, it's a 9/1. You can just ping it.
Yeah, I guess it depends what he was going to do with his turn, that's all.
Yeah.
Time runs out on me.
You're not going to ping that.
Nope. No, you are not. You see how much of a big deal I made of this Plague of Death when he found it early, though, right? Like, you can see at this point, Bunny is probably just going to try and make as many huge boards as he can over and over again, because he's seen the Soul Mirror now. Like, he's kind of been given that license to do so. The fact that Viper just has one more ability to just give the hard no to a board state. Ah, yes, the Evocation Twilight Drake combo, of course. Potion of Illusion, a Disguised Wanderer. Let's go. All right, new best use of a potion I've ever seen in my life. All right, real talk though. What's the actual play this turn?
Yeah, it's well, this Twilight Drake comes down 100%. It's Viper's trademark card.
Yeah. Everything else is just kind of garbage, though, isn't it? I like playing the Learn Draconic, because then whenever you press Plague of Death, you actually get a swing turn out of it. It's not just a board clear, which is pretty
I like
sick.
Draconic. And honestly, just in general, it's a 1-mana 6/6 in this priest deck, because you are going to play the spells, right?
Yeah.
I also like that a lot.
Yo, that's sick! The Apotheosis was so sick! Did he rope? Did he not have time to react? Okay. Fine. Could have thought about protecting him. Protecting the 9/1? Like, at least make Bunny spend a card on dealing with it? I think it's worth thinking about. But I agree. Protect the Sethic. Sethic's the actual good card here.
Yeah, the Sethic's kind of got a 6/6 in it as well. Since it'll give you spells to prop the Draconic.
Sethic's got 6/6 in it. Yeah, okay.
It's my new game I'm going to play. How silly can I make a statement sound that Sol actually does have to agree with?
Yeah.
What to do? What to do?
No surefire way to deal with this Sethic, though. It's a bit of a problem. Could start with the Tome, but that does instantly switch off the
Time runs
box.
out on me.
Is this a board you can even afford to box into? I don't think so, right?
Yeah. 5 cards remaining, by the way. One of those is a Prime. That has gone in there this game. It's just been buried right at the bottom of the deck for Bunnyhoppor. But now he's just developing into a Sethic. It's got to feel bad here. There's nothing to start the chain with currently.
It's a Cyclone now. Viper could go looking with Madame Lazul to get something to start the chain with, though.
Yes.
The future is clear.
He's not going to. But,
He's not going to find it. Yeah.
but it's a fair shout, right? Oh, you know it. You know it, Viper. Box Wars.
It's just Blizzard. I'm fairly sure it's just Blizzard here.
Is it?
Yes. So my reasoning is that your opponent has 5 cards left in their deck, so you're fighting Fatigue. So if you played Box, like if your Box just froze their board and they took 1 extra turn towards Fatigue, you'd consider that a victory. So why not just take the freeze?
We'll have to ask Viper after the series.
Like, are you compelled by that argument, though?
Oh, no, I understand. I probably even agree with you, but I was trying to use my special mind powers to make Viper pick the box, and it paid off.
Okay.
Evolving Missiles, a little bit late to the party. Right now, for Bunnyhoppor, I think he would have liked to have seen that many, many moons ago. so the Twilight Drake didn't wreak havoc that it did in the early game.
That's right.
It's not a bad effort, though.
Yeah, the push is being made. And again, like, Bunny will feel very, very secure here. Like, honestly, I think Bunny might feel like he's ahead, and perhaps even significantly so here, because he's already beaten the Soul Mirror at this point and is kind of pushing. He will be scared, of course, of that card that was discovered out of his hand while he had a puzzle box in it. And he might be developing some kind of read on that very early game spell that has not been played yet. That might be, you know, Shadow Word Ruin, Plague of Death, some kind of mass removal that he does have to play around, but I think both players will feel like they're in a relatively comfortable spot right now.
On wings of destruction they come.
And it's interesting, right? Oh, that's a big pickup, and that's going to answer my question now. I was going to say the Plague gives Viper the security versus the Prime.
Yes.
But what was the answer to this board, right? That's the problem. He had the security versus one of two boards, and there's a point where if Bunnyhoppor stuck that board, then he doesn't have to play Prime until he wins the game anyway. But regardless, the steal happened. Bunnyhopper's pushed into a corner. He's got to play the box. And it's not started off too well.
It is not. Breath of the Infinite is a good start, though. Slam is a problem. Never mind, it killed the minion. We chillin'. Fat yikes so far, Raven.
Hannibal does stop the counter box, though.
He's actually... that actually copied a demon. And not the demon you might have expected it to copy, which Solarium Prime is in fact a demon. Yo, that's it. If you have Prime and Box in your hand, you just always cast the Box first with Philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Viper just attacked face, right? Yeah. So he's tested for freezing, for explosive, for noble sacrifice.
You can test for snipe with the Disguised Wanderer.
And for misdirection. Yeah, no, I like that actually. I think you play a minion before you play a spell, right?
I think so. Then this just dies, but I like that 7-2 as a minion for Viper. I think that's very difficult for Bunnyhoppor to deal with right now.
Right, like you could have played Disguised Wanderer, which tests for snipe, and then if it's not snipe, you then play a spell, and then you're in a much better position
take a
for
50-50,
for pressure play. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. I do, even though it sounded funny, I guess, because of the impact of Snipe versus Wanderer, I think it was just good regardless, right?
Yes.
And you knew there was no explosive trap, you knew there's no noble sacrifice to deal with, but now we know there's a Prime in Bunnyhoppor's hand, so if he played Box last turn, I'm going to take a long shot, Sotol, and say he's going to play Prime this turn.
Oh, it's so bad on an empty board, though. We've seen this happen so many times. Like, as soon as it casts, like, Rolling Fireball or any other removal spell that can't go face, it just blows itself up.
It's true, but then Viper could just pass his way to victory at this point, right?
Yeah,
if he doesn't cast it, so that's the issue. He could just pass and wait till he dies to fatigue.
It's a good
Because Viper
point.
knows he has to overcome a Prime.
Yep.
Here it is.
Oh, why do I say
that is
things?
Just very funny.
Yeah.
Stop stealing my power, son.
Yeah, garbage. Utter garbage.
That actually might have been the worst Prime I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's up there.
At least relative of position in game.
Yes.
And now all Viper has to do is just not die.
Yeah, last two cards, Ray of Frost and a One Thief. So Viper currently has to deal with, I think, 3 Mana Cyclone spells, 1 more randomly generated spells, and a Primordial Studies minion. That's it. And then a Ray of Frost and a One Thief.
And then the Evocation and the One Thief.
Yes.
Viper now got the Paladin Secret unlocked. Pretty easy one. He's just going to build a board. He knows he's nowhere near dead. He knows there isn't really anything Bunnyhoppor can do about it.
Oh, picks up Stewart as well, which is about the best thing that you can get when you play that card without being mage. Like having the mage privilege of actually having good spell damage minions.
Just Discover a spell is just a good card with any kind of shape and mana at this point.
Bunny's dead. Yeah.
That's going to be game. That is going to be series. Viper secures his position as a European Hearthstone Grandmaster. Bunnyhoppor has to continue through the gauntlet and play again tomorrow versus A-Rock. Huge congratulations to Viper, of course. The relief, I can't even imagine what the relief is like after winning that match. Just going, done. Finish for the weekend, finish for the season. Definitely not Viper's best, but he's safe to come back next time and try a little bit more. But for Bunnyhoppor, again, we saw Casey earlier on book a spot onto Sunday. That just could have been Bunnyhoppor. They pretty much swapped places with the last match of the round robin. Huge deal here, as we see now Bunnyhoppor going to